My name is Ryan. My friend Kyle and I have taken our barroom conversations to the internet in the form of Michigan's most up-and-coming sports talk podcast. From baseball to Bigfoot, we cover it all. You're in for a treat because you have found the Turbo and 2K show. $2K crew, what is going on? What's popping? What's hot? Welcome to episode 31. It's me and your boy 2K's doing this shit again. And for all you football fans, I hope you go grab a sandwich, get a drink, because we're going to break some shit down. And the whole show is either college or NFL. So get ready, because this one's going to be fun. And I'm glad you're listening to us and not seeing us, because we both have raging boners right now. Football's back. Fantasy football's back. I've roster baited the shit out of my roster. Actually, that's a complete lie. I haven't done anything to it. I've looked at it,
I was gonna say,
but
that's kind of gross.
But usually, I'm the guy that I'll start a team, and then by Wednesday I'll change it. Then I'll change it after Thursday, and then I'll change it Saturday night. But with being at week one, I just said, fuck it, let's roll with it. So before we jump into this, I want to give a big shout out to Miss Darcy Plummer, our fan number 1, and she's our first Patreon. So congratulations, Darcy, and I hope you enjoy the content we put up there, because right now me and you and Kyle are the only ones that know about it. So if anyone else wants to hop on that train and see what's going on the Patreon, patreon.com/turbo2ks. If not, we still love you. Let's jump off into some college football here, 2Ks. What an odd week. And I say that because my team didn't play.
Mm-hmm. In week 2.
Yeah, your team barely played. And there was a lot of my thing is week 1, when you're blowing out a team, it seems like you would take some of your starters out just so they don't get hurt. But I understand too that you need to get the reps. Mm-hmm. It's new, but we saw a lot of the top 5 use a lot of different quarterbacks or second string. Some of them even put in their third string. Mm-hmm. So let's do a top 5 recap, and then we'll pick and choose some games. I've got about 10 or 12 of them here, and I'll give you the score, give you some highlights, and then we need to expand on anything. We'll go from there. So starting off with number 1, Clemson handles A&M, which there were actually a few people picking A&M to upset Clemson. I was not one of them.
No.
I was not one of them. I don't think Clemson's going to lose all year, let alone to Texas A&M. But it's 24-10, so it's not like it was a blowout. I did not watch any of the game. However, a lot of the reviews and a lot of the analysts said that the score was not indicative of how much Clemson did just bury them. Mm-hmm. Which they're the number one team in the country. That's the way it should be. Trevor Lawrence goes a lot better numbers than week 1. He goes 24 for 35 for 268. A passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown. So I think he's back on track, and I still think it's his Heisman to lose.
I agreed with you, when we were talking about this last week, and I thought he's definitely, it's his Heisman to lose, exactly. But after watching him and then watching some of these other guys, I don't think it is that way anymore. I think there's some other guys that have kind of jumped out to me. Oh yeah. You can't. I look at Jalen Hurts in week 1, and it was like, holy shit! Like, maybe this Heisman is his to lose after watching him in week 1, and then I'm like, well, can he do it again? And he comes out last night, and I get it. The opponent is
South Dakota,
but he comes out last night and just has another solid game. Throws up 3 touchdowns.
He did it. He went 14-18, 259, 3 touchdowns. No, hold on. Yep, that was him. And of course, Oklahoma just drubbed him 70-14. So, yes, there was a lot of other quarterbacks that played in that game, not just him.
And another thing with him, being in Oklahoma and playing the Big 12 is he's not going to face any defenses all year.
Nope.
So, I mean, it's the video game numbers he's going to be throwing up every week.
And, yeah, can you imagine just the mindset, the difference between going from an SEC where defense is everything, to the Big 12 when defense is nothing. I mean, it's optional. And very rarely do anyone ever play defense in the Big 12. So, but yeah, he's definitely coming out very hot. I think all the questions, well, not all of them, but 90% of the questions are being answered with him. Is he going to fit there? Can he pass the ball downfield, which is the reason why Tua came into that national title game. And I think he's answering the questions.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're not all answered yet.
And these are all. And what impresses me the most out of it is this is an all new offense for him. These are all new teammates, and he's stepped in like this. He's been doing this for 2 or 3 years for Oklahoma.
Right.
You know? And so that's what's kind of shocking to me. And I think it's only going to get better. And if you can do better than what you're doing now, that's
just watch out.
Yeah, it could be scary. Watch out.
And speaking of Alabama, they played New Mexico State, beat them 62-10. Tua went 16 for 24, 227, 3 touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown. So not as lighting the world on fire as the first game, but I want to say he played 1-2 series in the third quarter, and he was done. And he was done. So obviously there was a lot of other scoring besides from what he generated. And Georgia, big bounce back game against Murray State. They won 63-10, and Jake Fromm didn't play a lot in this game at all. He went 10 for 11, 166, and one passing touchdown. So my dark horse Heisman is off to a slow start. But I'm still very confident in what Mr. Fromm has going. And we already talked about the Oklahoma game. Ohio State. Didn't let Cincinnati score at all. They won 42-10. And another new face in a new place, Mr. Justin Fields, goes 20 for 25 for 244, two passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns. And he's done nothing but just be awesome. And you and I were talking last night, and I was like, man, I don't think there's a better team in the Big Ten. And they're right where they need to be at 5 right now. I have no problem with that. And it's I think all truth be told, and you'll probably agree 100% with me, is that once Big Ten play starts, that's when the Ohio States, Michigans, Wisconsins, even Penn State now, the big boys are going to separate themselves the way they should. And so yeah, these little mop-up games, I mean, you can take what you want from them. The team, they're winning the games they should and winning by a large margin. And after that, the one game that I had a little vested interest in, because that was one of my pick 'em picks last week, was LSU and Texas. And wow. There was a lot of offense in this one. Yeah. There's a lot of offense. I don't think I can remember the last time LSU put up 45 points. LSU won 45-38 against Texas. And their quarterback, Joe Burrow, 31 for 39, 471 with 4 passing touchdowns. I don't think I've ever heard of an LSU quarterback having those numbers.
Exactly, yeah. And normally when you think of LSU, you think about defense.
Defense and running.
They're going to win those games. They're going to hold teams in, maybe 1 to 2 scores, and they just grind it out and they beat you. And them not having their defense is still going to be good. I mean, you're facing Texas offense, and that Texas offense is very special. But they're going to be good, and they're going to be able to hold teams down. But, man, they have an offense, maybe the best offense in the SEC. I mean,
could very well be. It's the best Gus Malzahn offense that I've seen. So that hello train. We had an airplane and now a train. Is the neighbor going to start cutting the grass here? Because that'd be fucking awesome. But yeah, you mentioned that they gave up a lot of points to Texas, but their quarterback Sam Ehlinger, 31 for 49, 401 with 4 touchdowns himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was a Big 12 game. It was played like a Big 12 game. A lot of numbers, a lot of passing yards, a lot of stats. And, yeah, it was... I had to look at it again because, looking at that game, I thought it was going to be maybe a 21-14, 21-7, 24-21 at the most. And I had to reload my phone just to make sure that was the right score. And I looked again. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, this was a lot of offense.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of offense, and defense was, again, optional. It was optional. Now, I think the game we're going to talk about the most here, it intrigued me. and actually, you know what? Before we dive into that one, another shocker to me was USC beating Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Stanford's starting quarterback didn't play. However, USC's didn't either.
Mm.
And this freshman for USC, Kendon Slowers, shows you how much I know about him. All he does is pass for 377 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Mm.
And USC dominates Stanford 45-20. And I watched the last part of that game, and I'm sitting here going, wow.
Yeah.
Against a stout
Yes.
Stanford defense. Just picked him apart.
Mm-hmm.
His first start.
Yeah.
Well, second game, first start. And he looked, in my eyes, he looked better than Leinart. Maybe not Leinart his junior year. Way better than all the other quarterbacks. USC's got a good one.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And that defense, I think, is going to be scarier than what most people think. And USC might be back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Might be back. And if little else, they're going to be the best team on the West Coast. There's no doubt in my mind they destroy Oregon, especially if they played like the way they did against Stanford. That wouldn't even be a question. Yeah. So I bring that game up first before we dive into the Michigan game. And wow, that was even as not a Michigan lover, which I try to keep an open mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my fandom definitely does not lie at the Big House. I have no vested interest in Mr. Harbaugh. And I didn't watch a minute of week 1, so I watched a lot of this one. And if they looked sluggish game 1, they looked even worse.
Mm.
And I know it's against Army and it's against that triple option, which that's why they run it. That's the only way they can compete. And I'm pretty sure I said when we sat here last week, I said it'll be Michigan will blow them out, or it'll be a 24-21, 21-17 game. And I was pretty spot on.
Yeah,
pretty spot on.
Mm-hmm.
And Michigan gave Army every chance in the world to win that game.
Yeah.
When Army stops them, Army's last drive before it was tied, it went to 2 overtimes. If they would have taken over the ball with 2 more minutes on the clock instead of 2 minutes, like 2.5 minutes and change, because they're not a quick strike offense. They're an offense that needs 5 to 7 minutes to be in their comfort zone. You know. And run that option so where that's their bread and butter. Mm. And when you have 2.5 minutes and you're trying to go, what was it like? They needed 27 yards to get into field goal range, and they got almost right there, which was pretty shocking in and of itself. And they did it with 1 timeout. And freshman kicker, was it a 50-yard field goal? Missed the damn thing by like 1.5 feet.
Yeah.
He had plenty of leg on it.
Yeah.
It started right and kept right.
Yep.
So all the Michigan fans that were on the other side blowing, you guys are the real MVPs of that game. But then it gets to overtime and the defense makes the stop that they need to. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to that as I had to leave the house, so I was listening to it on the radio, and when I heard that Army's defense stopped Michigan, so they had to kick a field goal, I'm like, oh shit, Michigan might be in trouble here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the fumble recovered, game over. Yep. And on the radio, Dan Deerdorf was losing his shit.
Yes.
He was losing his mind. He's like, oh no, I'm not getting too excited. Not getting too excited yet. They might review this. The refs are in the tunnel. It's game over. Game over. Yeah. I'm like, holy shit. Calm down, man. Calm down. You're kind of supposed to be a little bit unbiased here. No?
No.
Not old Danny. Danny D is wearing his emotions on his sleeve that day. But all in all, you got away with it with a W.
Yeah.
And I think it's a bad win, but it would have been an even worse loss.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and at the end of the day, a win's a win. We'll take it however we can get it. I was kind of on the other end of things. I kind of thought, oh, Michigan will just go have their way with them. They're going to get everything fixed on the offensive side.
I was right there with you.
Yeah. And the thing, when you play against a team like Army, you have to be perfect. And defensively, they held their ground. I'm not concerned about their defense at all. They held their ground. They did what they did. You're going to give up a couple good drives to Army. That's just they're a good football team.
A couple 9.5-minute drives.
It's a very hard offense to prepare for, and they're going to be if they are perfect and they don't get any penalties on a drive, you're probably going to give up a couple drives to them where they're going to score on it. Now, those drives are going to be 9 minutes long, 8 minutes long. So Michigan offensively, you're thinking we might only get the ball 8-9 times this entire game.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be perfect on those drives. Well, when you fumble the ball 3 times and you give the ball back to them 3 times,
led to 14 points.
You take your 9 drives and cut that to 6 now.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to win that way.
Yes, and I was concerned. I touched on it a little bit last week. I was concerned week 1 with their offense, just getting the plays in and some of the stuff that they were running and it's all their execution is just awful right now. Mm-hmm. They'll get a drive going, things will be going smooth, then they'll fumble the ball. And, Patterson's got to take care of the ball. You got to take care of the ball. And the running game. The running game has been, Charbonnet, the freshman running back, has been very impressive. But I haven't been very impressed with the offensive line that you got 4 returners. Mm-hmm. And, that offensive line should be making holes, and Charbonnet is not having holes that he's running through and making big plays. I mean, he's just kind of
right now. He's being the workhorse. Mm-hmm. He had 33 carries yesterday for 100 yards and was it 3 touchdowns? Yeah, mm-hmm. 3 touchdowns. That's a hard way to get 100 yards, mm-hmm. considering he almost had 100 yards week 1 and touched the ball 8 times.
Yep.
So, yeah, and now for those listening, the reason I brought up the USC game before this one. USC is making the same change from the pro style to the spread. Mm-hmm. Same exact change that Michigan's doing right now. Their new offensive coordinator is Graham Harrell, which he played for. Seems like he played at Texas Tech like 3 years ago, mm-hmm. and he's wow. And like I said, he's doing it now with a freshman quarterback, and this freshman quarterback's playing like one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the nation right mm-hmm. now. So. For those that are saying that, you just got to give this time, you got to give this time, you got to give this time if you're a Michigan fan. I don't know how much time you can actually give anymore, mm-hmm. especially looking like that. And then looking at a team that's doing it putting in the exact same system that you're trying to run mm-hmm. and doing it extremely well. And granted, neither one of the opponents that USC played a very stout Stanford team. Hmm. And I think you and I can both agree that Stanford is better than both teams that Michigan's played.
Yes.
So, you have to. It's one of those things where it's kind of like a catch-22 if you're a Michigan fan. Do we cut bait with this already and go back to what we did last year, or do we just stick with the bumps and bruises, throw some Band-Aids on it for the time being, and see where it goes? And I think ultimately that's something you have to do.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't just bail 2 weeks into this.
No, and it's going to get better. I'm not. Am I concerned about it? Yes. Am I in panic mode? Absolutely not. We just got through the first 2 weeks of the season. It's a whole new offense. They have way too many playmakers on the field to not succeed at this. It's going to happen.
Peoples-Jones hasn't been on the field yet.
Exactly, and he's your best player. Offensively, he is the best player that you have. And it's not so much for what he can do, I mean, as far as catching the ball as a receiver, but they can hand the ball off to him. They do all different kind of things just to get him to touch the ball because he's a big play waiting to happen. Right. Michigan on the special team side of the ball, in the punt return game, they fumbled the ball twice, in that. He's your punt returner. So once he comes back, you get him back in there. He's very sure-handed. He's not going to fumble the ball. And so I'm not panicking yet. No. It would not shock me if they come out in 2 weeks against Wisconsin and they go in there and just fucking light Wisconsin up. It would not shock me one bit.
Yeah, and getting back to the system, I don't care what system you're in, you have to hang on to the fucking ball. Mm-hmm. I don't care what you're playing. And that goes fumbles, interceptions, and what drove me nuts most, and I'm not even a Michigan fan, is the third and shorts, the fourth and shorts that they're trying to go for. And getting stuffed because they're trying to run a running play, a power play, from the shotgun.
Yeah. Yep.
I understand that, yes, you're trying to spread everything out. You're trying to run a little bit more up tempo and no huddle and things like that. But there's got to be times where you're just like, you know what? We need to put everyone on the fucking line. Quarterback under center, fullback. Running back. Power football to get that yard. And if they pick up one or two of those where they didn't, I don't think that game goes to overtime.
No.
I don't think it goes to overtime.
No, absolutely not.
Because you're running more time off the clock, keeping it away from them, which they're going to run the clock to death, and your playmakers are better than theirs. So in the end, you're bound to win 99% of the time, and. But and you and I were talking about it before we went live. It's like, man, that was some of the most, unless you're an Army fan, that was one of the most frustrating games.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the thing that just pissed me off is, you got 4 minutes left to go in the game, and you have a chip shot for a field goal to take the lead, and you go for it.
Yeah, that was weird.
If there's one thing that you can hang your hat on with Michigan is, I'm going to trust my defense to make a stop. Mm-hmm. Our defense will make a stop right here. We'll kick the field goal. We'll go up by 3, and our defense will make the stop, and we'll win the game. And you don't trust the defense? You're going to try to go for it after you've been stuffed 2-3 times that game? Yeah. And you're going to try to go for it?
And Facebook almost blew up after they did that.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook almost blew up. But yeah, let's again, 2-0. I'm pretty sure at this point, the quote unquote style points really don't give a shit. But I'm right there with you. Calm, Michigan fans, calm down. Mm-hmm. Everything's gonna be fine. And just it's one of those things. We've heard it in baseball, we've heard it in basketball. Trust the process. You have to. Mm-hmm. You have to. You're already this deep in it. You're already invested. So there's really, you got to ride this out.
Yep.
You got to ride it out. Yep. Wisconsin had another good showing. Mm-hmm. They routed Central Michigan 61-0. Their quarterback went 26 for 33, 363, and 3 touchdowns. And Mr. Taylor had just 19 carries, 102 yards, and 3 touchdowns. It's kind of like the norm for him. A 3 touchdown day. Another day at the office.
Pretty much the norm for a Wisconsin running back. Over the years, it's just every year they have a running back that's just a fucking beast.
Yep, and I think this one this one might be the best out of the bunch. Mm-hmm. This one might be the best out of the bunch. Mm-hmm. Then we had Michigan State, the game that I almost chose as my Onions pick. Almost chose. Glad I didn't. Because I hadn't watched Western play a snap yet, and from the looks of the score, they didn't play a lot of them. Mm-hmm. Michigan State easily cruises 51-17. Lewerke put in some worky, 23 for 32, 314 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So if Mr. Lewerke can continue that momentum, continue that progress. I think Michigan State, you might have a fighter's chance in the Big Ten. If Lewerke plays the way he did week 1, don't be too excited.
Yeah.
I think that's ultimately my takeaway is. Now, you give me a Lewerke that's in the middle of that, I'm cool with that. I mean, Trent Dilfer has a goddamn Super Bowl ring doing it. And you know Michigan State's defense is going to be stout. It always is. It always is. D'Antonio gets those boys going. So that's the least of my worries. And it's just been the quarterback play. It's been the quarterback play since, for the last 3 or 4 years. So which Lewerke are you going to get, folks? I think that's the major key. That's the major key in that one. And to kind of lead out of the college football, Notre Dame didn't play.
Yeah.
Notre Dame didn't play, so after it wasn't the most exciting college football Saturday for me.
No.
I mean, there's a lot of other games that I got to enjoy, and some of them, like I said, were very, very interesting in different ways. So, and we are recording on Sunday, and fuck you. If you listen to this and I tell you that, what's going on Sunday now, you need to check yourself, because it's football season. Sunday's for the boys. A lot of folks think Saturday's for the boys. No, Sunday's for the boys. But man, if you're a Bears fan, Thursday was not for the boys. Wow. That was kind of a shit show.
It really was. I'm trying to just go out of it and say that it was 2 really good defenses. I mean, we know that Chicago has maybe the best defense in the NFL. Yeah. But man, I know everybody wants to just fucking rip on Trubisky and the Bears offense, but let's give a little bit of credit to Green Bay's defense.
Yes. Yeah.
And let's give a little bit of credit to what the GM did in the offseason and going out and picking up some of these big names on the defensive side of the ball and spending the money that needed to be spent. And we know Pettine's he knows what he's doing. He's a very, very well-respected defensive coordinator. He knows what he's doing. He just hasn't had the talent to,
and to have the onions to let Clay Matthews walk, who's been there. I mean, that's the face of your defense for years. But yeah, I was the final score was 10-3. I think it was one of the lowest scoring Green Bay Chicago game ever. So it was kind of a dick tease. It wasn't the game that I thought it was going to be. And especially as a Bears fan, I don't know. We'll see. And yeah, all the noon game or the 1 o'clock kicks are going right now, and there's a lot of blowouts here. 2Ks. There's not a lot of close games, and people are fighting down in Jacksonville, and Foles is out with a shoulder injury.
Yeah, and I saw that he had it all in a sling and everything, so it doesn't look good there.
Does not, and we're watching the red zone right now, and Eagles went down 20 to nothing.
20-0. It might have been 20-0. Yeah.
So, and they're rallying back. They're up 29-20 right now, and holy fuck, who is this Ravens team?
Yeah.
Who is this Ravens team, or did the Dolphins just stop playing defense? They're not playing much offense either.
Well, look, I had so much excitement on Cleveland, and I'm calling Cleveland, that they were going to win their first opener since 2004. No, they're down 36-13 right now.
You know what? If for any sports franchise, I think that they're used to that. They're used to that.
Yeah, but they had so much excitement going into this year. You go out, you get Odell, and add that into it from what Baker was doing last year down the stretch. Once Kitchens took over the job there, and just a lot of excitement going into this year. I really thought that they were a playoff contender, and they still might be.
Yeah,
but
to
just get it, they're just getting it. Getting manhandled by the fucking Titans, and the Titans are nothing.
No, and maybe it's not time to throw dirt on that grave that everyone dug for Marcus Mariota either. Derrick Henry has having a big game.
Yeah, so Delaney Walker's got 2 touchdowns today also. So
there's your sneaky fantasy pick right there. Yeah, Lamar Jackson has 324 yards and 3 touchdowns. Passing. Not running. Passing. Passing. And welcome back to Philadelphia, Mr. Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, he's kind of having a...
He's having a day.
Yeah.
He's having a day. He's having a day for show. For show.
Another one I was kind of paying attention to when it first kind of started off at 1 o'clock today was the Jets game. I wanted to see what Le'Veon looked like. Absolutely. You take a year off. To me, I think he was the best running back in the game. And he takes the year off, and I still think that he has the potential to be the best running back in the game. From what he can do carrying the ball, what he can do catching the ball. I mean, he can do it all.
Yep.
And he doesn't fumble the ball. He just everything about his game is just. I think he's the best. Mm-hmm. But he takes the year off. Everybody's concerned. What's he going to be like? Is it going to how long is it going to take him to get his? I thought he looked pretty damn sharp right off the bat. I mean,
yeah, which is good because I mean even though did I agree with him sitting out? No, but it's his money, it's his career. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. I mean, I'm just sitting here going, entertain me, clown, entertain me. But yeah, he made his decision. He made his bed and he's sleeping in it. So he better make the best of it. Unlike his boy Antonio Brown. Which you hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah,
and I if anyone thinks that 2K's is bullshitting, I'll back him up on this because this was what, Friday?
Friday night. Yep.
You're like, you know what? Raiders are gonna cut him. And he's gonna sign with the Patriots. And I was like, you're probably right. I don't want that to happen, but you're probably right. Yeah. Sure as shit.
I just couldn't believe how quick it happened. Like, I see on Instagram that they cut him. I'm like, oh yeah, good. They finally cut ties with him. Like, what a dipshit. And then I get back on there like 45 minutes later, and they're already talking about the Patriots are in contact with him. And
he signed very quickly.
A couple hours after that, he's a Patriot.
And that, I mean, of course, that was one of the big topics going into or leading up to the start of the games today was the whole situation. And what everyone, and I'm in agreement with this, he was traded out of Pittsburgh to Oakland. Mm-hmm. Quite frankly, I wouldn't want to play for Oakland. Nope. So did he go about it kind of a shitty way? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did he end up costing himself a shit ton of money? Yep. Mm-hmm. But I think he got where he wanted to go.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
In the end.
Absolutely.
Now, which I don't foresee happening is him going into that locker room and just destroying that locker room because
they won't allow it to happen.
No.
And this is the thing with the Patriots is they've earned the right to take a chance like this because if he acts like an asshole and they don't like him, they'll just cut him and they'll probably still go play in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And if everything works out great, hey, you got probably the best fucking running or best wide receiver in the NFL.
Which they've done this before.
And you throw him into the best scheme in the NFL, the best team in the NFL, the best quarterback in the NFL, the best coach in the NFL, and now you have the best wide receiver with them.
Yeah. And they did a very similar thing with Randy Moss. Mm-hmm. And look at the season that him and old TB12 put up.
There's a legit possibility the Patriots defense got better from this year from what it was last year. Mm-hmm. There's a possibility that if Brown comes in and everything is perfect, that hey, they might not lose.
No, I mean it's scary. It's scary, and I think it maybe if he stays out of the cryogenic freezer thing and doesn't frostbite his feet again, that might help too. Mm-hmm. That might help too. Well, Mr. 2Ks, let's move on to the game that's sweeping the motherfucking nation. It is Paycheck or Onions, bitches. Paycheck or Onions. And just to kind of give you a recap from last week, my paycheck game was Kansas City over Jacksonville. And Mr. Mahomes has them boys rolling. So I think that paycheck is well in hand. Mm. Now, your paycheck... I almost got your motherfucking paycheck.
Yes, you did. Mine was Michigan, and I said Michigan would cover and, just put the beat down on Army, and no, that was not it. We squeaked out of it. Hey, like I said earlier, win's a win. I'll take it.
Yeah, and my Onions pick was USC over Stanford, which I didn't see it. I didn't think it would be even that close, or that the score would be the way it was. I figured it'd be a lot closer. But yeah, Onions pick, check. Good to go. What was yours?
My Onions pick was Green Bay over Chicago. So
check there.
Yep.
And my 3 pick'em games are Lions over the Cardinals, that's a later game.
Yep.
I had LSU beating Texas, that is a point for me. Yep. And Michigan State beating Western, which is a point for me. So I have 3, 6, 7, 8, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 out of 7 right now. 6 out of 7. Where are you sitting at?
I got my first pick'em game was Ohio State over Cincinnati, so I got that one. My next one was Cleveland over the Titans. That doesn't look like it's going to happen.
We'll say to be determined. TBD.
And my last one is Dallas over the Giants, and that's a later game also. So we'll see on that one.
So yeah, we're still not. All the games aren't final yet. But we'll keep this updated. And we still need some suggestions for either what the winner gets or what the loser gets. Mm-hmm. So shoot those over to us via email or on the Facebook group. Well, this week, Mr. 2Ks, why don't you run down your pick'em games?
Pick'em game. The first one I had is I'm going with the Packers starting 2-0 and taking out the Vikings at home. My second one, I have Maryland. Maryland's kind of, everybody talks about in the Big Ten football about Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. Maryland kind of under the radar looks really, really good, and they have a new head coach and Michael Locksley, offensive coordinator from Alabama. And man, they got some playmakers on that team, and I'm not saying that that's a team that's going to win the Big Ten this year, but that's a team that could ruin somebody's chances of winning the Big Ten or potentially playing in the Final Four.
This might be the first year they're going to be legit in the Big Ten, because half the time I forget them and Rutgers are even in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, cool, whatever.
But I have Maryland taking over Temple, and then the third one I have is Penn State over Pittsburgh. Penn State's looked very impressive to me.
Penn State's rolling.
It was the Pennsylvania matchup between Penn State and Pittsburgh. I'm going with Penn State over them.
I like it. My 3 pick'ems are I'm taking the Broncos over the Bears, and have not seen. I mean, the Broncos haven't played yet today, so haven't seen them. Haven't seen the Joe Flacco powered offense that is. But I saw the Bears offense, and I'm liking the Joe Flacco powered Broncos a little bit more than my Bears. And that should be a very good defensively played game. Yeah, you got Von Miller and Mack. Mm-hmm. Oh man. Yeah, there's going to be some sacks, there's going to be some fumbles, there's going to be some tackles for losses, some picks. And I'm not sure what the rest of the Bears defense is going to do, because Khalil Mack's going to do all of that. And
can he play quarterback?
You know what? I wouldn't put it past him. Well, first of all, would you want to tackle him if he had the ball?
No.
Fuck no. No. I don't even have a wife and kids to take care of, but I'll make him up. I'll make him up. So yeah, I'm taking the Flaccos over the Mitches, and I've got another Big Ten team that's playing very well lately is Iowa. Mm-hmm. I'm taking Iowa over Iowa State. And if I'm not mistaken, you had a little wager with someone with Iowa. Or am I making this up?
No, they were really, really talking up Iowa to me. And I think that there was a little bit too many alcoholic beverages that this guy had.
Someone was in the pops.
Yeah, and but he was going all over Iowa and kind of spouting off like Iowa will take out anybody in the Big Ten. And I said, well, not so fast, my friend.
He pulled the Corso on him. And not so fast, my friend.
He's like, well, who you got then? Who's going to beat Iowa? And I said, well, probably the best team in the Big Ten, I think everybody would agree right now, is Ohio State.
Yeah.
I'll take it. He's like, $20. I'm like, okay, $20. And then he's like, anybody else? I'm like, well, I got to go with Michigan. I mean, they're my favorite team. I think Michigan will get it done. I don't even know if Iowa plays against Ohio State this year. I'm not even sure on that. I hope that they do, so I can make my $20.
You know what? Next time you see him, just be like, yo, man, did you see that Ohio State-Iowa game? 52-12, man. Pay up. All right, fine.
And so, but we also made a $20 bet that Michigan, or he thinks that Iowa's going to take out Michigan, and I think Michigan will win that. So possibly $40 coming my way. I doubt that he's even going to remember this conversation. But yeah, just kind of a shocker to me.
Yeah, so I figured I'd let the listeners in on what we were chatting about last night, because I was kind of shocked that, especially someone that lives in Michigan is so high on Iowa.
Yeah,
which kudos for him, man. At least he's maybe doing some homework. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. In my last pick'em, I'm going. And I hate to keep piling on Stanford here, but especially if their quarterback doesn't play, I've got UCF over Stanford. Given my old boy Brandon Windbush some love, mm-hmm. and that UCF team, they're pretty stout.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't overlook them.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my 3 pick'ems. Now, Mr. 2Ks, what is your paycheck game of the week?
Paycheck game of the week. It was kind of hard finding this. I mean, what's that? Because I don't want to pick like a Bama over whoever the hell they're playing.
Citadel.
Yeah. So I went with the NFL because the NFL is a little bit more of an even matchup. Mm-hmm. But to me, the one that just sticks out that you can't miss on is the Chiefs going to Oakland. The Raiders they're already a joke. Now you got all this shit going on with Brown. You cut him. You cut ties with him. You think that you like got the best of Brown because you cut him, but then Brown ends up a Patriot, so
right.
Brown still gets the best of you.
Right.
And the Raiders are just a fucking joke, and I think that the Chiefs go to Oakland and just embarrass them.
I was actually going to choose that game as well, but I rode the Kansas City train this week, and yeah, I'm kind of curious to see who Gruden's going to run the XYZ banana play for, because I was really kind of stoked to see Brown run the banana play, but I guess it wasn't in the cards. Now my paycheck game. No, it's not Notre Dame. It's not Notre Dame. Notre Dame's not even on my list. Notre Dame's not on my list. I am taking Ohio State over Indiana. Kind of a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
But Ohio State, first road test.
Mm-hmm.
First road test, we shall see. Do I think it's going to be another drubbing? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what a paycheck game is for.
Yep.
That's what a paycheck game is for. Now, my onions pick of the week. My onions. I went with the game that you had for a normal pick'em, but went the other way. I'm taking the Vikings over the Packers.
Really?
And I watched the vast majority of the Vikings game today, and boy, oh boy. Healthy, was it Dalvin Cook, right?
Yes.
I had a brain fart there. Dalvin Cook looks amazing.
Yes.
One of the stats that they ran is that Minnesota, their running plays total last year was one of the lowest in franchise history.
Mm-hmm.
When Dalvin Cook's healthy, man, is that kid a difference maker. And he looks so much bigger than especially when he came out of college.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had more of that Reggie Bush type of frame. You know, could he hold up throughout the whole season? And it hasn't worked out his way so far. But it looks like he's put on 20 pounds of muscle and has not lost a step. That kid looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That kid looks amazing. Yeah, we have our first game go final. Buffalo's 1-0.
Yep.
They're 1-0. Damn, making some noise. I love it. Oh, damn. Now we got another close one. Rams and Panthers, 30-27.
Yeah, that's the game right now that's going on. That's close. The Chiefs had their way with the Jaguars. Vikings had their way with the Falcons. Buffalo takes out the Jets. Eagles are about to finish off the Redskins and win that one. Ravens destroyed the Dolphins.
Yeah, I don't think anyone saw that one coming.
Titans destroyed the Browns. Baker Mayfield threw a pick six just a couple of minutes ago. That's his third interception of the day.
Ooh, man. Should they, on the sideline, allow him to just shotgun a beer? That might get him started. That might get him. Fuck him. Couldn't hurt.
I'd try about anything right now. I mean, shit.
Couldn't hurt.
All we talked about is all the targets that he has there. And
Clowney is suited up for the Seahawks.
Isn't that weird? That's just he just looks weird in that uniform.
But I tell you what, for a defense, it's good, and then you give him them. Mm-hmm. Fuck, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So yeah, that was my Onions game. Hey, have we done your Onions game yet? No. All right.
So my Onions game, I was going back and forth on this, and I don't know. I'm going bold with it. I'm saying that Herm Edwards in Arizona State comes into East Lansing and takes out Sparty. Sparty, you know what you're going to get out of Sparty's defense. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. Mm-hmm. But you said it. They're going to go as far as Lewerke's going to take them. And I think Lewerke's is hot garbage and is not going to take them anywhere. And I say that Arizona State comes in and takes out Sparty.
I like it. For all of you that are listening, if you hear this, that was 2K throwing his dick on the table. I like it. I mean, picking these games this week, it was kind of weird because there isn't a lot of top 25 head-to-head in college. I mean, we've got Clemson at Syracuse. I think we can all agree that Syracuse isn't a top 25 team. But it is Clemson's first road test. I don't think it matters. Iowa at Iowa State. I think that's actually where, if I'm a betting man, I'm saying that's where game day is going to be. Mm-hmm. And Stanford at UCF. Those are the only three games on the docket next week that have any top 25 going at each other. And Notre Dame has their home opener against New Mexico. Kind of unfortunate because New Mexico's coach is Bob Davie, where Bob Davie was the coach of the Irish for a long time, and there's some medical issues that are keeping Coach Davie from making the trip. So we hope for a fast recovery for him because I was always a big Bob Davie fan. Mm-hmm. And then as far as the NFL slate goes, I mean, there's some good games. Saints at Rams, Seahawks at the Steelers, and the Vikings at the Packers. Mm-hmm. And obviously the Vikings at the Packers drew the attention of both myself and 2Ks. So yeah, it's not an exciting week 3 for college, week 2 for the NFL. And holy shit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't need Melvin Gordon.
No,
because that dude just ran out of his shoe and still got a 40-yard through the middle. But speaking of the NFL, we have an avid listener in Dustin Perry. And when he was home the last time, I promised him we would give him our breakdown of the 49ers. And for those of you that don't know, Dustin is the strength coach for the 49ers. One of our Marcellus own, which is really, really cool to see. And to be honest with you, I had to dig a little bit for this because I don't know shit besides Jimmy Garoppolo and Kittle.
Yeah, kind of the same for me. I mean, West Coast, I don't pay a whole lot of attention out there. Stanford's really never been a team that I've followed real close. But I mean, after I got to kind of doing some digging around, they do have some young talent. Injuries have definitely played the toll there. Kind of been the difference in them, getting off to I think the start that they would have liked to have in the Kyle Shanahan era.
Yeah, and they start out today at Tampa Bay, and then they go to Cincinnati next week, which I'm that has to be. That has to work on you when you're a West Coast or East Coast team and having to go to the other side, if you put it that way, and especially back-to-back weeks to open the season. That's got to be tough. Mm-hmm. That's got to be tough. And I think my main point on this is kind of the same thing with Michigan State. This team is going to go as far as Jimmy G takes them. And I know the first preseason game that he played was a fucking clunker. Mm-hmm. But he came back the next game and played like Jimmy G.
He hadn't played for an entire year.
Yeah.
He tears his ACL in the first game of the season last year. And, you look back the year before that, and when he took the starting job there, when he was traded out to San Fran, and for the last 5-6 weeks of that season, kind of had a coming out party.
Yeah. He start his career 7-0?
I mean, there was a lot of guys. There was a lot of fans in New England that were like, Why did you trade this guy?
Yep.
This is our answer for when Brady finally retires.
I don't think Brady's ever going to retire.
Well, I think Brady kind of saw the heat coming. They're like, this guy's pretty good. I don't know if I want him right behind me.
Get him the fuck out of here.
Exactly. So, I mean, if he's healthy, I'm very, very intrigued to see what what he can do. I know they got some weapons for wide receivers. Kind of under the radar running backs. That's one thing. Kind of until we started doing the fantasy drafts, I end up seeing that Tevin Coleman is a 49er now. Yep. And Tevin Coleman, did his thing with Atlanta for 3 or 4 years.
Especially he's last year with Freeman out the vast majority of the year.
And he's no joke. And last year, I remember always seeing the name Matt Breida because he was always big play. He was a big play waiting to happen. The problem with him, he was hurt all the time.
Yep.
So if they can keep him on the field, and that's a two-headed monster that could do some damage there.
And they also have, didn't they sign last year Jerick McKinnon?
Yes. And who also
that poor dude hasn't played in the last 2 years because he's just tearing shit up. So yeah, I think yes, Jimmy G is going to take these guys as far as he can. Injuries, if people can stay healthy, and I have written down here that the running back position to me is a concern, just because like we said, injuries, and I think it's going to have to be more of a running back by committee because you don't have a standout guy, which is fine. Which is fine.
80% of the NFL right there.
Yeah. Now their wide receivers, on the other hand, I had to look to see who they were, and that's not to say that they're not any good. It's just they don't have that number one.
They don't have that, your prototypical 6'3", 6'4" wide receiver that
they're
is
all
just
short.
A stud. Yeah,
I think the tallest one I saw was 6'1".
Yeah, but they got playmakers, and Marquise Goodwin is a big play waiting to happen. Dante Pettis, same thing, and he kind of towards the end of last season was when he kind of hit the radar, and I know that he was one that I had him circled for my fantasy drafts this year. Didn't end up getting him in any of the leagues, but he's one that could potentially go off.
You got one of the, I would say, top 5 tight ends in the league.
Absolutely,
Kittle.
Yeah.
He flies under the radar.
He could be the number 1. Maybe probably number 2 because I don't think anybody's going to surpass Travis Kelce. But he was the most impressive player on their team last year. I mean, kind of come out of nowhere. Nobody was even really talking about him, and then. Because I'm trying to think back. I don't remember anybody drafting him last year, and in fantasy drafts.
I think I picked him up midway through the year.
Yeah, that's kind of it was like watching him play a couple weeks. It was like, damn, that guy can play.
Didn't even know he existed till about 3 or 4 weeks into the season last year.
This year he's getting picked in the top 35. 35 picks of the draft.
I think he's on my team, to be honest with you. And I think another the stay healthy thing. I think. How much is Bosa going to give you? Oh, it just says Nick Foles broke his collarbone, a.k.a. the clavicle, for all those medically inclined.
Well, that's probably better than anything. In the shoulder region,
the joint,
broken collarbone. You're looking at maybe getting back in 5-6 weeks.
Yeah, it's just got to heal. Yeah, there's nothing structural, like you said. That's probably the best case scenario. But I think when it comes down to the Niners, I'm not down on them. I'm not high on them. But what concerns me is the teams in their division.
Yep.
With them are the Rams, Cardinals, and Seahawks. Do I think they're better than the Cardinals?
Yes.
Absolutely. Do I think they're better than the Rams and Seahawks? No. Not right now. Right now. Could they potentially overtake the Seahawks? Possibly. Would it be a stretch? Yes. Are they going to overtake the Rams? No. In my opinion, the Rams are the best team in that division.
Yeah, well, and like you talk about them, I mean, what the Rams can do offensively, they're just that team is loaded. But then you try to talk about them jumping the Seahawks, and potentially they could do it. But the Seahawks have Russell Wilson, and all that guy does is just win.
Yep,
he just wins. It might look ugly as shit, but he just wins.
And he does it, and he's healthy all the time. All the time. The only thing that scares me is if you're a Seahawks fan, is Carson going to stay healthy all year? Who? And then the wide receivers.
That's where it's at right there.
Okay.
You got T.J. Lockett, and he's like or Tyler Lockett. He's like the one that you always
pop, lock, and drop it.
And they went with the rookie and Metcalf, who they're high on, but I got to see it before I'm going to jump on that bandwagon.
And ironically enough, where they went 3 on the screen here, and the Niners game is underway. So if you guys have the if you have DirecTV, I think this week is free.
Yep.
Yeah. So if and now Kyle's got a real boner because now the Cowboys are on,
and Zeke is in the backfield.
His man crush. Now I want to touch on Zeke for just a little bit. You're a grown ass man. And when you come in to sign your deal...
Why do you got a nose ring in?
Yes. Yes. You and I did. This is the first time I brought it up and you read my mind. And he had two of them. Mm-hmm. He had one on the side and one in the middle. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Stop.
One of Ohio State's finest.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's... I think that's about all the Niner breakdown I can give you.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on Bosa there for a second, you know, and the concerns are definitely, you know, health. They got the best player in the draft. They had the number 2 pick. You know, Arizona went quarterback. Sanford doesn't need to go quarterback because they don't have a quarterback problem right now.
Not at all.
They got, you know, they trust Garoppolo. They're the ones that see him every single day. Mm-hmm. Kyle Shanahan, he's proven he knows what he's doing. You know, so if he says that he's good with Garoppolo, I'm saying that Garoppolo's probably pretty damn good. But getting back to Bosa, he was the best player in the draft.
Hands down.
Can you keep him healthy? Can you get him on the field? Man, I hope so because I want to watch him play.
Yeah, it was even last year at Ohio State. That was a whole different defense without him. Mm-hmm. And it's odd to see that, you know, one player, a DN, make that much impact. If I could see more like a middle linebacker or someone that's calling the plays, and I could see them being, if they go down, having that big of an impact. But man, that was an entirely different team. Mm-hmm. Entirely different team. But yeah, so Dustin, coach these boys up, get them strong.
Keep them healthy.
Yeah, keep them healthy. I know you probably don't have a whole lot to do with the medical side of it, but yeah, keep your boys upright and have the best season you can, man. And when you're in town, let us know, and we'll bring you on here, and we'll put you through everything and see if you survive the Turbo and 2Ks experience. I mean, we go easy on Christian, so we'll be bringing our big guns to you, Mr. Perry. So kudos to you. Enjoy the travel, I guess, the next couple weeks. Mm-hmm. I know that's the time shift has got to suck. It's got to suck real bad. But yeah, there it is. The Turbo and 2K's official breakdown of the San Francisco 49ers. Well, Mr. 2K's, we're about at that hour mark. Is there anything else we need to touch base on here?
I don't think so.
I'm just looking over my notes here just to make sure. Yeah, I think that's it. So if anyone wants to buy me anything for my birthday, it is Saturday. So I do accept presents that are iPad shaped. So, iPad. Any sort of MacBook. That's the size I wear. So yeah, keep that in mind. And I'm gonna let Kyle go sit and watch this game so he stops shifting around in his damn chair right now. So 2K crew, it's been awesome. We will get at you next week, and as always, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.